Welcome everybody to the channel. Today we are doing a pick a card. The theme is just going to be like a whatever comes through kind of, I guess. A lot of the times that we do have, for those of you that are new here, even when we do have a theme, we tend to still try to honor what comes through as being things that are of significance at the time as it stands anyway. And sometimes I've noticed it does get in the way of the messages that we're actually trying to, like, the theme that we're trying to bring in, whatever the topic of discussion is. But there's always a purpose to it, and I always do try to round back to it. But I understand there are times where it doesn't always, like, come out with that kind of expected result. So today I thought we would just take the pressure off and we will just do like a whatever comes through and hope for the best. So we have 3 groups for you to choose from. Group 1, we have the Anima Mundi card. Group 2, we have the Vow. And group 3, we have the Mother. So you can take a moment to choose whichever group you feel the most drawn to, and I will see you there. Timestamps are in the description box. Okay, welcome in group 1 if you chose the Anima Mundi card. I don't know, is it Mundi or Mundi? I'm not sure. That's just the way we're going to go with it. Anyway, this will be your group, and it'll be a message of like whatever wants to come through. So the first thing that I got, this definitely seems like you and one other person, someone that you are they were saying specifically at odds with. So whether you're in no contact or just not in agreement, there's something there. There could definitely be is it like a polarity in idealism, values, a general way of thinking as well, depending on the person. I definitely think it has to do a lot with values. Okay, so okay, so on one hand, we have one person here who's definitely quite protective, and I think something didn't meet, I don't know if I want to say like emotional requirement or emotional safety sort of standards for this person, whatever the requirement might be for them. And it was not enough, and they were not happy with it, and they felt like they needed to protect themselves, guard themselves, block the other person off, or put themselves in a better position, or maybe even it could be put themselves at a distance here. Whatever it is, it was like of a protective or a guarded nature in some sense, right? It could have been a little bit of defensiveness, but that's not going to be for everyone here. Just take what resonates with that. We're not going to try to read into it too much. So on the other hand, we have a person here who I think generally moves quite comfortably throughout the world in whatever way, whatever situation that they put in, whatever way they choose to navigate it. I think that they know and trust that when put to the test that they can really stand up to whatever they are faced with at the time. And I think there is something here, somewhat of a difference between the two people, where this person that I'm currently talking about, there's something about it where I think in some way they know that they are, I don't know how to explain it, like the bigger dog in the fight. And it could be in any way, right? Whatever way it is that they're measuring this, whether it's like agreed with by both sides or not, whatever the specific way is that they're measuring it, it actually seems to stack up to be true in that specific like area. Okay. And so this could even be as simple as their willingness or ability to be confrontational, whereas maybe the other person in the situation, whichever end of this you're on, maybe you would not initiate confrontation, but maybe you would be a person who would finish it or something like that. So maybe you approach things in a different manner. That definitely is coming like confirmation to be true, okay? So going back to this person here who knows that they, in whatever way it matters to them, they stuck up with the odds in their favor in some sense. It appears to me like they're appealing to somebody so that they can be, it's like appealing to emotions or something like that, so that they could come out on top of some sort of situation. But in their version of coming out on top of a situation, it was going to have to do with some sort of like karmic justice or get back in just from the coming out on top, if that makes sense, okay? All right, I do want to take a moment and just see what else we could be getting here. Okay, so this is definitely something that I get come through from time to time. Just take it or leave it, whatever resonates. I feel the need to say that, you know, even if you have found yourself in this reading or any of my readings and you don't find yourself to be like a particularly like spiritual person, or maybe tarot readings are as kind of, you know, I guess as divine as it gets. We'll just leave it at that, right? A lot of the stuff I'm about to say could seem kind of far-fetched, but what I would say for you is if you know who you're dealing with is, even if you don't really know them that well, but you don't consider either of you to be really like spiritually inclined people or people that would use divination practices or anything like that. You could be quite like logical, quite in the day-to-day, living the best mundane life that you can in like the best of ways, right? Really, it doesn't matter what that looks like. But there could be some type of like manipulation that comes through on this person's end. And so whatever it is that you know, currently experiencing, just being human, dealing with others, you know, in the normal ways that they would choose to be manipulative, I would say that what I'm about to say next would just translate to that, okay? So, but going back to what I was going to say, there is some sort of, there is something here where you definitely need some sort of like divine protection, or there could be some sort of like evil eye stuff that comes through with this. What is that? Moon, Neptune. Yeah. I'm just getting the word voyeurism and something to do with Neptune being important. I actually am kind of interested where Neptune is at the moment, because I think it, I don't know if it has just moved or is about to move, because it was Neptune in Aries. So what are we like going into Neptune in Taurus? Yeah, okay. We'll park that and come back to if it's necessary, but there could be something here where they, yeah, it's like wanting to skew something or wanting to put the odds in their favor. We get a lot of this kind of repetitive type of energy come through on the channel, and I just have to trust that the message that I'm getting, you know, the people that are going to benefit from this message are the people that are like finding it, and it's just, it would be like a simple thing if this is not a message that you know, not an energy that you know that you would like to delve into. then this would be like a good chance for you to either pick another group or another video, something like that. But all saying that, we can go ahead because it'll often quite feed back into something else. I do feel like there is some sort of like universal truth though, that this is like all centered around, despite it's like something that can't be denied, something that can't be ignored. It's in everything. It would be particularly weird to me if like this one person could be trying to use manipulation in a sense when they are particularly like would identify with being like a spiritual person, because in knowing the universe, you would know that whatever this is not consistent with like alignment, just as a base rule. But that being said, we'll park that and we'll move on, see what else we get come up. It's just something that came out of nowhere or without warning that wasn't expected. And it could have been like a release. So it could have been like a built up, I got something about frustration. So like a built up sense of frustration, or they could have been something that they really held on to, or I don't know if I would call it a grudge, but something that could have been held on to for so long that it went stagnant. There also could have been like an exertion of willpower over I don't know what this exertion of willpower is. It seems to me like one of these people, this person who maybe wanted to come out on top, had some sort of like objective goal that really had nothing to do with whatever this connection is or was. And I think that they let that get in the way. They knew that, they understood that, they continued to prioritize it, they move forward with intention. I feel a lot of it is very performance based. I feel like they are particularly trying to, I guess, perform to a specific audience or something like that. Part of how this could play out, I was getting something about like Leo and Venus. So it doesn't have to be Leo and Venus, but it could just be like, you know, just Venus qualities coming through in general. But there definitely could have been something here about a person's physical appearance that played into part of whatever this like objective goal was, right? There definitely could have been a level of like subjecting a person to something that they weren't okay with, but they continued to do it anyway. And part of how the universe would kind of like bring this back into balance is by seeing this person embrace themselves wherever they're at, regardless of, you know, what that looks like, but being on some sort of healing journey or pathway where they are, I don't know if I can't tell with this one particular part whether it's like a coming out on top already or in the future, or it's part of the success. It's like maybe part of the reason as to why they become successful anyway. And that somehow, in sense, seeing that play out is like the universal balance restored as it is. And there's a strong theme of rebirth here as well. So what is this at odds? I'm just going to take some more cards. So far we do have Libra, Scorpio, Libra, Scorpio, and Leo here. I'm afraid that your feelings for me are not mutual. I just heard someone could have left before you left, or vice versa. I have many regrets that keep me from moving forward, and I feel abandoned by you, and it is triggering my childhood traumas. I was definitely getting like an Eight of Swords sort of vibe from that, of just having the blindfold on, feeling stuck, feeling like you can't move, feeling trapped, potentially feeling controlled, definitely being immobile or not having a choice, whether that's through trauma or some type of distressing or stressful situation. This definitely seems a lot more like insecurity based than what I thought we were going to kind of experience with this particular reading, but it's like the depth of connection. I bury myself in work to forget you. The depth of connection that one person wanted here. Did someone just not feel seen? Is that what is that what this is? I mean, there could be a mismatch in alignment in some way where like one person's really deep and the other person's just kind of not. I mean, like they might go there in moments or something, but I also feel like this person, they could fake like a deepness in terms of they would be able to put on a show to the point that I feel like it would look like an active demonstration of, oh, yes, I understand that. And maybe they do, but there could also be something there where it's like not something that they engage with the process very often. So it's hard to say which way that could be triggering, because I could see how on both sides it could potentially could, depending on the person or the situation. There is something here too where like one of these people may never, ever want to let anybody in to a point where they feel flawed in their authenticity. Like they feel like the only way that they would be accepted would be by putting on this performance. But this other person, I think they see them quite deeply and just love them for everything that they are. And they don't want the performance, and the performance gets in the way for them somehow. And this person that doesn't care about the performance may actually come off in a way that could be a little bit like scary or intimidating to other people, or it could come off a bit harsh or brash or something, or it could come off like a little bit, it's almost like an aloof quality mixed with a hardened quality, mixed with maybe a person who has the potential to be like very sharp or very cutting. But they're really on the inside like a super soft, very like emotionally available person, quite deep, who would be very, very interested in just the entirety of this other person as a whole. It really feels like the inside and the outside. So like we could have one person here who's definitely more yin and one person who's definitely more yang. It definitely feels like, regardless of any genders involved here, it's definitely like a strong polarization between like a feminine and masculine energy here. It's like one person wants to externalize and the other person is almost internalizing. Even if that specific part doesn't resonate, there's just that polarity between authenticity and performance, and that's as far as we really need to take that. Okay. I just heard, like, I got something about this person. I can't tell which side of this is on, right? But someone here is a pearl, and it's like rare and far between or something, like few and far between, but it's like rare. So this could have been a person that you definitely did step away from, or that has been on the cards, or is already, yeah, could be in the works, or could be an idea, like, have you taken off yet? And I think for most of you probably have. And there's something here too about this could align with putting you back on your pathway, because there's something here about this situation where there wasn't enough forward movement or enough progress or enough growth. And even if the separation, or even if you're not literally like together in a romantic partnership, don't let me using the words like separation wreck the reading for you, but just going no contact or focusing on yourself or moving on with your own life might be the very thing that you need to do to get you back on your path, to get you to where you need to go, to get you back in authenticity or something. Because there could have been like a real blurring of the lines here as well, where like I do see one person being a real giver, just overgiving, just giving absolutely everything they have in their power, just like almost loving a person so much, regardless of whether it was just a platonic friend or what the situation is, that they would just be ever giving. And another person having a really good self-worth, but to a point where it's almost, I don't know how I want to explain it. Like, I think they genuinely feel like they need extra validation or admiration or something like that. And I think they, in some sense, could be kind or generous back, but it's like never matched. It's never, I don't think it even comes close in comparison, but take what resonates for that bit. So I think part of all of this is just like a working on the emotional body, working through things that upset us, working out what we want, what makes us feel good. Trying to tell the difference between things that are like very illuminating and could be potentially poisonous for us. Things that would keep us in the dark or even bleed into confusion or delusion, versus things that are not delusional at all, but are just merely hidden in plain sight, but they are very real and exactly what they are. So you're telling the difference between the two. We're getting a lot of double confirmation with the cards that have come out so far, but I just want to keep going before we read them out. On one hand, there's like a strong sense of justice here. And on the other hand, there's a willing to fight for oneself, for their individuality, to be able to have a backbone, potentially for respect or equal rights in some sense. But like, due to the fact that they did that, it's like sovereignty. It's like wanting to fight for or stand up for sovereignty, whether it's themselves that were having to they were standing up for in order to achieve that. Whatever that looked like, I feel like maybe the goal was to stop themselves from being on the outside, but it ended up putting them in a position of being on the outside anyway, but it's like a different version of the outside. So I feel like one was very, I was almost getting it as come through as like an iced off manipulative kind of, I don't know, like cold shoulder, like a intentional punishment or something like that, or just a cut off from the warmth of one person. But on the other side, it was like the consequence that came through could have been undergoing health struggles or homelessness or being in between community or something, potentially having fallout with family or not having things as they were or should be in some way. So this could even speak to having like shared time with children. I feel like for most of you it's more about health or being put in a precarious position. It could have talked about, even if you for whatever reason wouldn't technically class yourself as being homeless, I mean that could be there, but there could have been a prolonged state of temporary accommodation where there was a lot of uncertainty for a long time or something like that. So there wasn't really, I don't know, I feel like you could kind of do the basics that you needed to. Like, here's the thing, at the end of the day, you'd always get through it, right? No matter what it was. But I think that it was a really hard time. And something about it could have really made you quite practical, or it could have made you a bit more ambitious, or it could have, maybe now you achieved your sovereignty and you had to really fight for it, but now you're going to make something of yourself through whatever that is. For some of you, it actually could have been through time having a drastic improvement in whatever that scenario or situation was. So it's like it didn't last forever. So for those of you where this hasn't happened yet, that period is not going to last forever where you're doing it tough and in between, whatever that looks like, okay? Like, it definitely improves. I feel like it definitely gets better than what it was. It's a different journey, though. It may be, for some reason, it kind of makes me feel like, let's pretend you get to the middle of your life, but you realize there's like one area of life for whatever reason. I don't know if it's because you were scared of it or you felt inadequate, or if like life just didn't pan out for you that way, or maybe you were particularly good in one area or something like that. So you just like honed in on the things that you were good at, but you never really addressed the things that you felt inadequate in. And then because of that, you kind of overdeveloped in one area and underdeveloped in another. However that came to be, it doesn't really matter, and there's like no judgment for whatever that is. But it feels like this shift in focus of life, it feels like you're stepping into this new focus of life, and I think you're going to feel like an amateur, and for a time that you will be, but I think that is very much needed. Yeah. Okay. For some of you, this could have been leaving a father of some kind. For some of you, this could have been self-directed change, self-directed leaving the situation as opposed to being forced out. But it still doesn't mean that it wouldn't have been hard. For others of you, this actually could have been leaving some type of like authority figure or direct report. So whether that was like a boss or whether that was like, I don't know, like a supervisor or something, it's like an authority figure who would delegate. And I just heard like corporal punishment, so whatever that means for people. But it almost makes me think, for some of you, if you ever got in trouble, if you ever got in trouble with the law, this could be like a person, some sort of authority figure who would keep you accountable in some way, right? So back on the confirmation of the signs that we did have come out. So we had double confirmation on Libra that I talked about. We did have the moon come through as well. I did feel earlier that we had the moon sort of showing a presence, even if it wasn't massive. We had Scorpio, we had Leo, we now have Aries. It's this recount and recapture of the zodiacs. It doesn't have to mean that the reading's not for you, but that could speak to an energy or a placement that somebody that will resonate for somebody. So yeah, and it's like this new start may have left you feeling very like raw, vulnerable, small, meek, or inexperienced, or even if it was just awkward. Sometimes I literally get the Page of Cups coming through as just feeling awkward. or feeling like kind of out of sorts, or feeling kind of clumsy. I don't know how to better explain it, but I think that you'll find that you'll make your way back to your original state soon, because it also could have just been like, you know, finding yourself in a position of being in your feelings, right? But it's not going to last forever. So is there anything else here that I have for group 1, or is that everything? That's everything. Hopefully this is like helpful to you guys. Definitely let me know how you went with this one. And yeah, take care of yourselves. I think there will be like a lot of good coming from this situation, even if I don't even know how painful it could have felt. I mean, we get a lot of stuff come up here where it looks like it could have been quite a painful process, but like I don't really feel a lot of the pain anymore. It feels more like just acknowledgement and doing what had to be done. And even if it was really hard, there was like, maybe you guys have done a lot of like emotional work already on this. We do have like bury myself in work to forget you. So for them, some of you, if it really was that deep, because for some of you it definitely was, there could have been a level of like processing or distraction, or just getting on with it, or even like focusing on the task at hand that help you just kind of be done. Some of you are still on your journey though. Some of you are still in that kind of transitionary stage, and you don't really know. We had double confirmation of Queen of Wands as well. Some of you just don't really know how strong you're going to come out of this, how you will get back to, you know, where you once were, and that everything's going to be okay. All right, that being said, thank you for joining me. Hopefully this is helpful, and I will see you in another one. Take care, group 1. Okay, welcome in group 2. If you chose the vow, then this will be your reading today for whatever comes through. When I was pulling these first 3 cards, getting a song, begin again was kind of the words that were coming through. So there definitely is something here with this. A person here who could have been like the light of your world or your day, your person, your favorite, where you've been through it before and it will like begin again or something. So for some of you, this could speak to it feels like coming back into a relationship, right? It feels like for a lot of you, if you're already in a relationship, this almost feels like a renewal of the vows to me in some sense, or a reignition in, I mean, it could be passion. It doesn't really feel like passion. It feels much more ceremonial or serious or deeper or more personal or more favorable or more long-term. Maybe the right word would just be like romantic, or kind of like the one energy, where there could be like just a lot of happiness here, right? So even if you're not like, you know, doing the thing every day, there could just be a lot of happiness in this situation, and there's like that reignition. It's like the new chapter, a coming together again. So you could have just gone on for a period where, you know, anything could have happened, where maybe like things just weren't that great, doesn't even matter, could have been like changes, just anything, a time where you didn't feel so close, or a time where you were focused on other things, or a time that brought about like a lot of, I don't know, a different life stage. Who knows what that is, right? But going back to the focus is that it feels like a renewal of vows. It feels like, I love you, you're my favorite. I'm so glad that we did this and that we chose to stick it out and that we got here. I'm so glad that you're like the, you know, father or mother of my child kind of thing. A level of deep appreciation for another person long term. I love your conversation. This is almost feels like what they would say to you, but I feel like they may be too shy to kind of be so cliche, or maybe it feels like maybe they love you heaps and they show you in so many ways, but it feels weird for them to kind of be that, like, say it so plainly, right? Like, I don't know, not everyone's like that, right? But just a being together, a companionship, just a happy being around each other, happy in the way you socially, it's like you just socially go together well. Okay. That being said, what else do we have here? Because obviously not everybody is currently already in a relationship. For some of you, I do feel like there is a proposal here. For some of you, I feel like you could have come out of some type of like dark night of the soul where it was very much like a divine, I don't know what it is that about it that's like divine, but it feels like hope again, grace again, begin again, begin again. Like divinely sanctioned. I sometimes weirdly get that come through. Don't take that if it doesn't resonate for you, because I understand that that's like kind of next level, right? I do get some sort of feeling here between kind of like a transformational energy, a very fixed energy. So like a not wanting to change, a butting of heads, I feel like one person may come off really strongly or say things the other person doesn't like, or maybe someone feels like the other person's not listening to them or hearing them or something. And so there could have been like this rigidity. So we have the fixed signs with the Fool here, right? Where the Fool is generally Uranus. Not like the fixed signs are generally in, is it the world? Yeah, the world is like Saturn, which is, why is that? I'm getting this mixed up. Is that right? Maybe, is it the wheel? No. Fixed signs, Sun. That's okay. We're just going to go with it anyway, because that's what I'm getting come through for this reading. But if I wanted to touch, we're just going to do a quick call out of the signs that we have on the table so that we can move forward. So currently we would have Leo, Taurus, Scorpio, Aquarius. Did I say Taurus? Yeah, Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius, and we have Gemini as well. Zodiac signs, like placements, don't have to resonate for you. There definitely could be more than just your sun sign or a person who's involved. It could just speak to more of an energy. But going back to what I was trying to get at, there could have been, I almost get this like divinely sanctioned energy come through again. It's like transformational. It was something that defied all odds, or there was like a hardness, a butting up against each other, a rigidness, an inflexibility. I will not bow to you. I will not change. I will not something. But it also speaks to authenticity, being yourself. And there's something here about that kind of leads the way in terms of, I don't know, is it like people liking you, I think. And part of why the likingness is like so strong, or the love is so strong, whatever that is, okay? Now, we also have Virgo and Jupiter. So there could have just been a period of withdrawal. There could have been a period of rebirth. There could have been a period of, this is making me think of something that kind of I had a friend tell me about the other day. Without going into too much detail, someone could have gone through some type of like rehabilitative time. Okay, so whatever that looks like. So there could have been, yeah, like a withdrawal, a rehabilitation of some sorts, even if it, I mean that even if you didn't literally go to hospital for physical rehabilitation. It could have been a time of going through like a withdrawal from, I guess, social connections. It feels like relationships particularly, where they could have felt too raw. It could have felt a bit too dangerous or something like that. So maybe you've taken time to kind of heal yourself, nurture yourself, or rehabilitate yourself so that you can kind of give it a go again. And there definitely is an essence here of, if you've been off the market for a long time, I mean, for some of you are genuinely starting again, right? In some sense of the word. But for others of you, it's like you've been off the market for a long time, and it could feel like a wild card, like you don't know what to expect, and you could feel just out of sorts, or like it's like, I don't know if I want to say awkward necessarily, but maybe you don't understand where you're at. Like maybe you're not sure if you're out of your own, what is it, like out of depth or something, like you're not sure where the lines are. It's like it's almost like a feeling of like, I haven't done this before. So for some of you haven't done this before. For some of you, this is entering into the first real solid, serious, stable, steady relationship that you may have actually ever had. I'm not saying that you haven't had other relationships if that's the case, but something about this particular one could be different. Yeah. And so for some of you, you've gone through this rebirth process, and that's kind of helped you to get to this point. Others of you, yeah, there could be like a growth and a learning and a wisdom. It's kind of like a growth through experience, I guess. For some of you, it could be like a growth through introspection, realization, kind of some type of like awakening. I think there is like a meticulous paying attention to detail here. And this wild card energy, though, some of you may feel like you don't really know what's going to happen. Whereas others of you, it's like the universe is maybe not kind of going too far to like not revealing everything, I guess is what I meant to say. So we're just going to take some other messages. Okay, so we have, I wonder if you are happy without me. I feel you, even though we are apart. And I know I was a distraction from your pain. So, okay, so for those of you that are single, whether it's yourself or this person, could definitely be thinking about the other person a lot, because this could have been a person you shared a child with. This could have been a person who was a favorite. This could have been a person who you had that, all those things I spoke about as if it was someone who you're currently with, or it could be coming in for you. This definitely could have been something that you've kind of moved on from. And now there's this whole looking back over all of those positive aspects and realizing how it almost makes me like want to cry, like almost feel, what is it? It's like solar plexus, or even, it could even be like a feeling sick in the gut, or I don't know if I would say it's like challenging or a dent to the self-worth necessarily, but it's just sad. I feel like it's phenomenally sad, which is a wild turn. For those of you, because it's not all about just the people that have gone through a separation, for some of you, your person could just be like working away or something like that. And it's like, I wonder if you're happier without me, or I wonder if, like, you know, I feel you when we're not together. And I don't know, maybe some people here are getting like a little bit dystopian, or a little bit like depressed in the absence or something like that. But there's also that whole having to spend a bit of time on your own to kind of like see whatever it is that the universe has to offer up for you, which is good in you maintaining your own sense of self, or your own sense of whatever it is that you do, what interests you. Yeah, there's like a lot of beauty to be defined in this that most people would not class as beautiful. Okay, so now that we've gotten this far, speaking about separation, some of you could have been married and going through an actual separation where you feel like the vow was very broken, right? Or it was, just whatever. I feel like we just want to do a quick little clear up, because this could have gotten kind of unexpectedly heavier than I thought it was going to be. But I mean, it didn't really come through until the end. I mean, for some of you, if you are in this really good relationship, there could be both sort of people or situations coming through here where there was this separation that kind of happened. It could have been the backbone or some sort of foundational thing for the relationship that you're currently in now. And they just still think about you a lot, or they still have a lot of like love or feelings or something, even if at the time it didn't really, sometimes, I don't know, maybe they come off as like cut off from their emotions in some sense. And we have, I know that you may not feel for me as I feel for you. Yeah, so it's like understood that there's a potential that it's not reciprocated. But I think for others here, it could just be like an overthinking thing, okay? I feel abandoned by you and it's triggering my childhood traumas. So I think those two kind of go together in terms of some sort of anxious thing. So it could be like, people talk a lot about like attachment theory and everything. I don't know a lot about it, but I am getting that like whole anxious attachment coming to mind. So if that's something that resonates for you, that could be playing some sort of a part here. There could be something about, for those of you that are in separation, it definitely could be like a re-triggering of old wounds. Those of you that are in a relationship, in contact or something like that, it could just be, I don't know, if we're talking about like a new and an old relationship kind of side by side, as if there's that foundational process and what you're in now or what's coming in, where there is going through this awkward stage of having felt that or had that come up. That being said, I feel like there's a lot of beauty here that needed to be acknowledged. So I don't know, or whether your person necessarily acknowledges it readily and often. I feel like they definitely, the energy that I get come through here is that they know how beautiful you are, and that the amount of beauty that they see in it is a lot. And I think they know that it's not just through their eyes only. I think there's something here where they have to acknowledge that like the beauty, the type of beauty that you have, it like precedes you, or it's like wanted by many people. It will last a long time. I got like a lifetime, right? For a lot of you, we are talking about people that you're maybe being together with for a lifetime or something. And maybe some of these things I'm saying are like not as extreme in comparison to like a separation, but they could have been rocky times or times of struggle or times of challenge in your relationship. But I feel like it almost always overrides it. So I'm going to do one of these. It's going to take another card. Okay, so there, for those of you that are in separation or have gone through periods of that, there is a lot of growth to be gained from the separation, okay? A lot of growth from the withdrawal, a lot of growth from the, learning more about yourself and taking time to go inwards and sort of see what's going on and honor yourself. So we also have the littlest blessing. Yeah, there definitely could be children here. I mean, I feel like we've had that come through in a few times. Like we literally have the baby on the Fool card. The sun can be representative of a child. And the littlest blessing, I almost get this little ladybug come through as a child as well. And this vow card is making me think of when I was talking about like divinely sanctioned. Not that it has to be. I just feel like I'm going to rub someone up the wrong way by saying it. But it's not the rule. Like I don't know how to explain it. It's not like a general thing, okay? So in this specific instance, there could be something here about having a child that was kind of divinely sanctioned, and we're just going to leave it at that. Okay, now, if children are not involved, the growth alone could have been the blessing, and it may not have seemed like a lot at time until, I don't know, for some of you it's like you didn't realize the blessing until you withdrew, or you didn't, maybe for a lot of you actually haven't seen the blessing version of this yet. Like it hasn't kind of been, you haven't been made aware of it yet in some sense. Things are still kind of in the works or playing out. So it's like, how on earth could this be a blessing? Or for some of you, it could, if you do understand the blessing, you may not understand the size of it or the depths of it in some sense. it also makes me think of very small little blessings throughout any given day. And sometimes when we go through times where everything's really like grey or dull, it can be hard to see the colour in things, right? So there could be elements of that playing out as well. But that's everything that I have for you today, group 2. So hopefully this is like helpful to definitely be interested to see how many people here are like actually in separation versus with someone. But I mean, just be discerning, take what resonates. I feel like if there is a relationship here, that it is pretty healthy if you've somehow overcome whatever the struggles were that we talked about. But as always, you know your own situation better than anybody else, especially a random person on the internet doing a very general reading. So if you would like more information, you could definitely use the email to book a private reading. But otherwise, that's everything that I have for you. So take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in another one. Okay, welcome in everybody to group 3. I think it's like a Rage Against the Machine song of like the F you, I won't do what you told me song coming through. So definitely could be a few different things going on here. We have I'm getting something weird about like a challenge in regality and authority. So take what resonates with this as we move through it. I think I feel like I have to just start by telling you kind of what I'm seeing is a person who is quite content with themselves, with their beliefs, with their choices, with their environment, with their possessions, with their standing, with their influence, with the position, maybe with their routines, what life has provided them in some sense, whatever that is. They could be happy passing on, I don't know if they're like passing on wisdom as in they're happy to just do it when it generally comes up, because I feel like it's maybe more of a repetitive thing. So they could be a teacher and they're happy to be embracing that, you know, mentor or teacher type part of themselves in some sense. I don't know if it's really like a mentor, but it's like this gives a teacher as a head of a class as opposed to a one-on-one mentor, if that makes sense. I also see a person who would not be willing to accept anything other than what they have or what they want for themselves or something like that, okay? There could be some type of maybe authority thing playing out, or some type of class issue, like an issue with like a social class difference playing out. This could just be a person who could just be very stubborn, okay? I do feel like it's not all of that is necessarily going to be for like, you know, everybody. Just keep in mind that this is a general reading. You can always book a like personal reading using the email address provided, but this also could be a person who actually likes taking care of their environment and being comfortable and just having their needs met, and that gives them the ability to do the things that they want to do or how they need to. This almost makes me think of a person who needs to be like very well nourished, very well rested, very well taken care of and comfortable for them to be able to step out into the external world in a public facing manner, okay? So it could be really liking everything that they have in place that helps them manage that. This person could be like a public speaker. This could be like a religious, you know, I guess, what could it be? I know this person could have some sort of position within like a church or a temple, spiritual gathering, whatever that is. We did talk about some sort of broader sense of a teacher. There is like a stubborn energy here. This person could just be quite well accomplished. They could have just really done very well in business, or there could have been some type of inheritance. For some of you, this could have been a spiritual inheritance. It's hard to say what that would be specifically. But this person could also be quite a hard worker. This person could be a person who in some way has been like favored. I don't know if it's because of what they do they've been favored, or they've been favored in such a way that gives them grace to do something that they want to do, okay? Now, we also have the Mother card here as well. Just keep in mind, it could be talking about yourself. We more often than not get like a cross-watching type energy come through. Sometimes it is simply for the purpose so that you can get an insight into the other person's, I guess, perspective or experience or insights, vice versa. Take what resonates with this, okay? I just was hearing like it's never meant with malice. So if I say something that kind of rubs you up the wrong way, it's never for the purpose of like intentionally putting you down, or even trying to be judgmental, because that could be something that could come through that could kind of be a little bit raw, right? So I just got like a be careful of what you keep at home. Be careful of who you keep around. Be careful of who you let close to the things that matter the most, or something like that, okay? And so, do we want to... It's going to take some more cards. So I do feel... what is this? 6. Could have been a person or a situation that's been like happening for a long time. It could be up to 6 people involved here, which is kind of interesting because that's not the way I thought this was going. There could just be a wanting to see a person grow, or I don't know if expand, is it expand? Just a person to grow over time, and there's some sort of delight in that. Definitely seems to be like there's a lot of themes around being at odds today with all 3 of the readings. There we have 8 of Wands. We definitely have like a lot of strong mother themes here as well. There could have been something here that came out of the ordinary, or came out of nowhere, something that like blew up in your face, or you weren't expecting. There could have been something that was like thrown your way that was like a real mess, or it was very unexpected. And there is some sort of message here to just like focus on pushing forward, focus on like the positive moments and the happy moments in life, or focus on just, it's like almost like a directing your attention, moving forward positively to the things that you want in life, and the things that are what you want. And I mean this in a way of like long-term fulfillment. Like, let's pretend that you wanted to go like rollerblading or roller skating or something, but that was more of like a one-off experience. But you already knew that you love skateboarding and you've been doing it for like years, right? And you only have a chance. Let's pretend it's like your 12th birthday or something, and this is like a choice that your parents given you for a present that they could buy you, and you're only going to get one present. So maybe you choose the skateboard. Let's play devil's advocate. Maybe you choose the rollerblades, and when you choose them, they're like really great. You have a lot of fun. They do what they're meant to, and maybe you still create some good times with it and whatnot. But maybe after like 6 months, you kind of discover that, I don't know, maybe it's not something that grows with you. So like maybe you'd be better off on picking the skateboard that you know you're going to get a long-term like enjoyment out of. That seems like very specific, okay, so I don't feel like that's particularly for everyone here. For some of you, this has been a person that you've known for a very long time, or a situation you've been experiencing for a very long time. I am feeling like some sort of self-doubt that could have happened here. I do want to call out, we have currently on the table Taurus and Cancer. I'm going to take some more cards and see what else. I just got like the Can't Touch This song coming through. So like MC Hammer. I can't stop thinking about you. We both know I'm not the one for you. For some of you, there definitely could have been like a poisonous mother here in some sense, or a poisonous feminine, a person who didn't want to acknowledge something. I do need to say, for not all of you was this necessarily poisonous, but maybe something that was like scary, or you could have thought was poisonous that was not, because like not all snakes are actually venomous, right? Let's see. There could have been some sort of like bending to someone's will here. So whether that's a case that there was a lot of bending or not a lot of bending. We're getting like a lot of snake imagery. That seems to be significant. It could be some sort of like good luck and protection. But when I said that, it made me think of the Mario Winans song. I think it's him anyway. And he says like good love, like let me offer you good love and protection. Something about the way that love is supposed to be. Yeah. I just keep getting the song on repeat. I'm just going to park that to the side. There also could have been a person here who was scared that they would get in trouble, or on the inverse, a person here who couldn't do anything without feeling like they couldn't do things without getting in trouble. We also could have had a person here, I can't remember if I've said it already or not, that could have been very like unwilling to acknowledge something or do things a different way. It feels like one person was very flexible and one person was not very flexible, and I feel like it kind of comes down to one person was like very understanding and another person was not understanding. One person could have put up like a hard no, dug their heels in about something, and this other person could have been, I don't know, disappointed or something. Definitely could have left you, or this person, it could be a mirrored energy, it's hard to say, where one of you, if not both of you, could have been left in your head about a situation, or unsure how to kind of navigate moving forward, or unsure how to get to where you want to be, right? Because here's the thing, is that we actually have the 10 of Cups here as like something to move towards, something to be positive about, something to kind of, like there's a victory in it. There's, you know, sometimes the Chariot can be going to war. So maybe you had to go to war and you like came out on top and you actually got your 10 of Cups in some way. For others of you, this feels like a very much just a remaining positive, pushing forward even when it's hard, in that direction of your 9, like your 10 of Cups. But it's really like the 9 of Cups. So it's like a wish fulfillment that is actually, I don't know if it's just that it's achievable or it's real, or it's like you're very much on your path and it's like a center focus. Like it's everything. Okay, well, is there anything else here that we have for group 3? No, it's everything that I have for you today. Hopefully this is helpful in some way, and I'll see you all in another one. Take care.